Just ask me who I was, and I said you. But Mike Ashford, Dad Audio.
I got a picture of him.
Did you know a place called Mary's? I didn't know it. I didn't know. Where they drink beer? Really?
That's just the reflex now.
Yes. But I didn't know any of that stuff. Well, I worked all the time, so I didn't know. Yeah.
When something came up, I had to take it. In the attic, in the box.
I remember talking to you about that, yeah.
In her own fashion, she said, the cabin. I never knew about the cabin. You do remember that?
No, I didn't know about it.
Yeah, on the lake. I wish I could remember. I've got a picture of the cabin. Front, and then this old man, we helped clean up and do things. We didn't have any money.
No, we didn't. Right. You guys, I forgot to.
I don't know how. I got it, but I don't know.
I was furious when I found out there was a cabin and a lot of hard going on.
And she had a crush on Andy.
I had such a crush on Andy. Really bad.
Who didn't? I think I might have had a
I
question.
think so. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
How much older?
Every woman in the camp.
How much older is he than us?
Say he was 2 or 3 years old because he'd been in the army. So I know he was much more mature than us.
No, I understand that, but what was the number of years?
I'm gonna say 3.
3. Okay, that's a lot at that age.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That's a lot of
18 to 21. I mean, I think
Well, Mary,
he was 3 years in the army.
if we dated and didn't go to the cabin, what the hell did we do?
We talked about Sue.
I talked about my current
I
wife.
was her therapist.
Oh, well, you were. There's no question. I bled all over these girls.
You know, Beanie never made the cabin either because you didn't know about it.
I don't know about the cabin.
Jay told me at that meeting. Yeah, our meeting.
If you're not finished eating, that's amazingly that I am. I need the slowest eater in the world. Continue to enjoy your dessert or whatever. Rachel Stone Joyce has provided each and every one of us a commemorative cup. So right over on the granite top there, and everybody take it over there. Everybody be sure to pick one of those up. Also, up at this table, there are some extra booklets. If you know somebody that's not here that you would like to pick up one for and drop it to them in the mail, that would be, I know that would be most appreciated by that person. So they're up here. I need at this time to, I could not have done any of this program, planning or anything without a good committee of people working with me. And I would like to call their names out, and after I finish, I would like all of those members to stand, and let's give them all a hand of appreciation, okay? Rachel Stone Joyce. This young lady did a lot of planning last year, and she was a very good motivational person for our 63 planning. That's Linda Steichler.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you know, one of the hardest things to do, I think, is the booklet. And but this year we had 2 people out of our class that took this on, and they did an excellent job. And that's John and Mary Nance. We also had a member of the class of 61, 62, 63, and 64. They would probably go back and look, maybe 65.
Yay, Smokies!
And we had another gentleman, I don't know if I didn't use that too, but anyway, up in Sparta Way, Sammy Foster. I'm sorry, Sammy's in the bathroom.
No, you're not sorry, this is a bad
Man, stand up for him.
Carol Stone Fisher met with us, and she did some calling. And we also had some workers that I call their committee members, but they're workers of the distance. Linda Heiser Schmidt and Susan Day did a lot of telephoning. And that certainly helped. It was very much appreciated. And I'd like to thank Barry Farmer, who at the end sent us some real cute little player boxes that we were able to use in our PR and notification. So I appreciate Barry Farmer. And again, thanks go out to Harry and Vicki for all the work that they did. Well, this is the time in our program that we honor and remember those classmates who have passed on and are not with us tonight physically, but are with us mentally and spiritually. We're going to read each of these names. Ed Olson will start with the class of 1962. Ralph Hoover will come up after Ed has mentioned names in 62, read the names in 64, and then Matt McIntyre will come up. We will commence with the class of 1963. So, Ed.
I used to be able to get Okay, I'm going to start with the class of 62, and I'll try to, if I can remember their nickname, I'll do it. But if I can't, forgive me. James Benson Alberti. Sammy Alexander. Statesville, North Carolina. Robert Arniotis, Brooklyn, New York. Lori Barker, Statesville, North Carolina. James Conley, Statesville, North Carolina. Jerry Fox, Mooresville, North Carolina. Danny Walton, Statesville, North Carolina. Andy Helms, North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Sylvia Holler, Statesville, North Carolina. Carol Johnson, Statesville, North Carolina. Madge Kessler, Statesville, North Carolina. Jim Knox, Mooresville, North Carolina. Helen Parker, Statesville, North Carolina. Jane Horn Ripley, Statesville, North Carolina. Jane Morgan Rumpel, Statesville, North Carolina. Franklin Shook, Statesville, North Carolina. Donna Hager White, Statesville, North Carolina. Larry Waters, Statesville, North Carolina. And Jewel Whitaker, Mooresville, North Carolina. If I get out of place here, one name that I think we have, John Dixie McIntyre, and I believe he was class of '62. Am I right?
Yes.
I'm going to read the names for the class of 1964, and we hope that these are sometimes very hard to find, and we found some here. If anybody ever knows any that have passed away and you forget, we're sorry, but try and locate them. Scarlett Jessup, Greensboro, North Carolina. Frances McDaniel, Mooresville, North Carolina. The next one was a classmate of mine, her younger sister, Melissa Thompson Stikelether, Statesville, North Carolina. Ellen Mosley Mung, Lynchburg, Virginia. And Harvey Williams, Statesville, North Carolina.
I'll read the names for class of 1963. Priscilla Baker, Hickory, North Carolina. Carrie Carter, Statesville, North Carolina. Baines White Eagle, Statesville, North Carolina. Carol Dobson, Statesville, North Carolina. Wesley Thomas Harrison, Statesville, North Carolina. Jimmy Hutchins, Yankinville, North Carolina. Dr. Mark Johnson, Oak Ridge, North Carolina. Barbara Jean Bungard, McCord, Statesville, North Carolina. Lee Miller, Statesville, North Carolina. Judy Lee Compton Moody, Statesville, North Carolina. Edgar Blaine Murphy, Statesville, North Carolina. Bobby Patterson, Statesville, North Carolina. Gail Ackert McMillan, Granbury, Texas. Elaine Brown Shepherd, Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Bobby Stamper, Statesville, North Carolina. Tommy James Summers, Kernersville, North Carolina. Pauline Luke, Statesville, North Carolina.
Ralph Spooky Hoover has a few words to tell us about CD and video that could be available.
Those of you who were here last year with the great Tommy Mason in charge, We gave a CD out, and we're going to do it again this year. We've added some features to it thanks to people like Steve Hill who have such a record of video and photography from the old days of Statesville. And I have them with me, and we're going to give them out to you, and hope you then enjoy these photographs. All you do is probably you need to download it to your desktop, put it in a folder, and then play it on some of your equipment that you have there, rather than trying to do it from the CD. Anything else? The last photograph is Charlotte Fletcher Langley, and she lives in Johnson City, Kingsport, Tennessee. We made some CDs from last night's party, but you're not going to get to see those.
Sorry, we missed that.
What happened in room 228 stays in
Just, if y'all would just start taking them, I don't know how many of them I put in each table, limit one per family.
One more.
Oh,
Three more, I was like three.
I added more to it.
Thank you, Spooky, I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
That's what he does for a living, by the way. Coming back to this recipe,
You're certainly welcome.
1 goody pound, 1 tablespoon.
Cover that, cover that thing.
2 ounces of toast, 2 ounces of toast, was there anything else?
You're certainly welcome. Everybody get one?
Yeah, I got this.
That's a strong one.
There's more to it now. I went, it's 300. No, it would be something else. 381.
You could have a scotch and soda and have the same effect.
1,000.
Oh, yeah.
2 ounces of ammonia, 1 ounce of coke.
Really? I'd bring you a Freud.
Dean, how you found it at the table, and what you did. You get blamed for everything.
Well, it was in your name. Tom Chavis. And he said, you wouldn't put us.
She wouldn't know.
Not everybody's heard.
John Kennedy called me so many times, I don't want to even talk to that.
There's a lot of people that don't want to talk to that guy.
But he told me it was a bunch of people, they were celebrating the 50th, those old people ain't got no humor.
They're going to get killed.
It's all right. You could have got somebody else. Why pick on me? I don't want to do this.
The chocolates are going to be great. You're going to be great chocolates.
They're probably a little harsh. you know, and they get loud. But I won't say that, you know, I know that's how they are, you know. Oh, I hate to do this.
They're gonna do great stuff.
You know, they're gonna love it. Let me get this remote stuff set up. Talk about, yes, we'll do the best we can under the situation, but I just know I don't like to do this. I'm telling you right now, they just won't laugh or anything.
You're gonna kill. He's gonna kill.
I just don't want to do this. I'm a young person. I don't like being around here 70, 80 years old, whatever.
Chuckles, they're gonna love you, Chuckles.
Well, gosh, you know, I wonder how I get roped into these kind of things. Well,
Chuck, I just want to tell you, this message is for Anna. We pray for you every night.
I just don't want to do this.
Chuckles, this is gonna be great, Chuckles.
All right, Eric, you say so. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That looks familiar.
Hello, everybody. Hey, man, listen. Hello to everyone. I am Chuck the Chuckles, and I am the DJ at WMJCACC, the Love Station. And we normally do this on campus, but this fellow by the name of Chuck Kennedy called me, and I tell you, he was so persuasive that I just said, yes, we'll do a remote control. We'll do it just for you. So tonight, we are broadcasting live tonight from the Courtyard Marriott, where the 50th celebration is taking place this very moment. Yes, it's happening right now. Can't you feel that excitement? In just a few minutes, in a moment or two, I am going to be joined by a phenomenal man by the name of Steve Hill. Steve will cover the news, the sports, the events happening yesterday, today, and tomorrow, around the world, and in your neck of the woods. But before we can do that, we have got to have a word from our sponsor. Now, I am going to let you in on a very quiet secret that's been kept for years and years and years. It's been a phenomenal billion dollar business. It started right in the biology lab at Mitchell Junior College. There was a group of young men who snuck in to the biology lab every night. Scott Moody, Matt Shaw, Matt McIntyre, Barry Farmer, and none of those good people. Now, they snuck into the biology lab and they concocted a potion that would alter the world of gardening and sports as we know it today.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, for this brief intermission.
All right. The products that they came up with in that biology lab late at night was Viagra sports drink.
They hold it for you.
Viagra Miracle Growth for plants and vegetables. Yes, folks, I'm here to tell you that those two products right there are one potent solution. Study after study proves that Viagra sports drink and Viagra Miracle Growth can be used by both men and women. But do not, under any circumstances, give this to your male dog, as you can end up with severe leg injury. Now it has been reported that women, just a cup a day has proved within a shadow of a doubt that it can remove their hitch and their get along. Yes, that is absolutely true. A group study was done with 20 Mitchell Beauties. I shall not mention any names. 10 were given Viagra sports drink. 10 were given colored H2O. In just minutes, the effects was just unbelievable. The 10 Mitchell Beauties who drank Viagra sports drink, results were was like a rawhide bra. It rounded them up and headed them out. The 10 who drank the water, well, what you saw is what you got. Okay, now you men. Oh Lord, especially you fishermen. I'm telling you, you gotta be careful. It was reported that a fisherman drank some Viagra sports drink prior to his day fishing on the river. And amazingly, his rod was so stiff he could cast for miles. At one point, his rod got tangled in the bushes along the riverbank, but he was freed as the sun went down, if you get the drill. Now, I'm here to tell you about a 95-year-old man, marathon runner, was said to have drank a bottle of Viagra sports drink before a marathon race. Now, this is the word has it is, he bested his previous time of 8 hours, posting a time of just 4 hours and 58 minutes. Unfortunately, immediately following the race, he had to be rushed to a Charlotte hospital for an erection that lasted over 4.5 hours. But four smiling young nurses reported that he had been discharged after hours of intense therapy to the nursing home where he is now the High Compalorum of Unit 4B. And the nurses have also found out by giving him a cupful a night, they no longer have to pick him up off the floor. He no longer rolls that bed. Now, for you gardeners using that amazing product, Viagra Miracle Growth, this is for you people, gals, boys, that have green thumbs. I'm here to tell you it is the best product that you can possibly spray on your vegetables. Reliable sources again female students use Viagra Miracle-Gro on their zucchini squash. Well, folks, it took 3 cows to carry that zucchini to the kitchen, where 2 cried while the other sliced it in tiny pieces. However, they did win a blue ribbon prize at the Iredell County Fair for the largest zucchini pie that ever been submitted. Well, that's all I can tell you from our sponsor. And now, please give a round of applause to Mr. Steve Gill, and he graduated from Mitchell class of 1964. Let's hear it from Mr. Gill.
I can honestly say I've never had an introduction. I am a graduate of Mitchell College, 1974, and I think that character that you just saw there was still there in 1974. His hair was a little bit longer, and he was smoking some funny stuff, but I think he was still there. Thank you, Chuck, for the opportunity to come and speak to you guys tonight. As Chuck said, I'm going to share with you some of the news that was going on in the world, in the community, back in 1961, 62, and 63, because I know for a fact you guys were busy during that time. You didn't have time to check the news. You were in the library probably 16 hours a day. You were writing reports. You were doing assignments. You were, you were too busy to look at the news. Get my machine there. Let me get back out of this. This is good here. There we go. There you are doing your homework, your assignments. You just didn't have time to read newspapers. So here's what was happening. In case you didn't know, during that time, Roger Maris, he hit 61 home runs that year. In the fall of 61, those of you in the class of 62, this was your last year at Mitchell. Those of you in 63, you were just starting, you were freshmen. Dr. Kildare, Ben Casey, Hazel, Mr. Ed, debuted on TV. The BGA eliminated Caucasians only rule. A guy named Elvis Presley, you probably didn't hear of him because he was so busy, but he had an album that went to #1. The Beach Boys came out with a singing group, and JFK advises Americans to build fallout shelters. Do y'all remember those days? But the big news was Mitchell College was starting its 105th session. Here you have Kenny Thompson, surrounded by some young men. The community was really excited about having you guys on campus. This was one of the most exciting times in Mitchell College history. The college was growing. The community was very supportive. The community had a lot of faith in you guys. First off, in the spring, or excuse me, in the fall there, the French Club ladies, they got busy. They elected their officers so they could get their picture in the paper. Then, not to be outdone, the Spanish guys said, hey, we need to get busy here. We need to elect some officers and have our picture taken for the newspaper. So there you have them. You folks back in the back may not be able to see this. I'll try to translate for you, but then the Glee Club comes along. We got anybody recognize himself in that picture? Some of these are straight out of the newspapers, so they're not quite as clear as Spooky's pictures. This is straight from fresh off the newspapers. The Mitchell College Octet. Does that sound familiar? Singing group. They made the news. You had lots of guest speakers that came in. Really some fascinating guest speakers. This was the guy who invented the doll speech pathology instrument. Any of y'all attend that? You in the library. And the big news was Mitchell purchased the old Deaton Apartments and had plans to do what with those? Y'all remember the Deaton Apartments? They planned to do the male dormitories. Well, by January, the next semester, January 1962, the Beatles had already met with Decca Records and had been turned down. Ground was broken for the Houston Astrodome. Jack Nicklaus played in his first professional game and came in 50th place. Jackie Robinson and Bob Feller were elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. But the big news of that new year was you guys. The city of Statesville, the New Year's first newspaper of the new year was talking about Mitchell College and how excited they were to have you guys on campus. And you guys were the saviors of the world. And between Mitchell College and the Vance Hotel, that was going to change the world. Well, we know what happened to the Vance Hotel. If you've been by there lately, you know that didn't work out too well. People started, people started giving money. Just out of the generosity of their heart. They wanted to see you guys be successful. The next month, 1962, President Kennedy began the blockade of Cuba. The Beach Boys started a new style with their surfing song. U.S. Supreme Court disallowed race separation on public transportation. And I don't know how you got that, but you got the planets to align somehow. I mean, you guys have everything going your way.
It wasn't easy going to camp.
I'm telling you.
I think it happened in biology lab.
I spent 4 great years at Mitchell in the biology lab. But the big news was the choir got new robes. There you see Kim Bradshaw, I guess it was? Yeah. Kim Bradshaw is there with Lois Walker. She teaching there at the time? She teach there? Another great speaker. I'm sure you're lined up to hear this guy. He was the Fletcher Wolf, the director of the Atlanta Boys Choir. He came and did a concert. Were y'all there for that?
I think that was nice when we get involved in marriage.
And then Mr. Montgomery, bless his heart, he decided to bring in this guy. This guy, Reverend C.E. Johnson, was the chaplain at Duke University. Now, Mr. Montgomery brought him in not just to give a speech, not just to spend the day. He brought him in for a week. Now, I don't know what you guys were doing to have a chaplain from Duke University to come in and spend a week with you. But then I found this. For those in the back of the room, I'll read a couple lines. There was, after a bomb scare at Mitchell College last night, the department was offering a $50. It says 100 there, it says 50 right there. For someone who called it a bomb scare. Now they had some suspects. I don't even know who those guys are. They had another suspect, this guy. Chuck, does that look familiar? Chuck had an alibi, though. He was in the library studying. So he was cleared. Next month, March of '62, Kmart opened his first store. The Beatles had their TV debut in London. The Titan II rocket was launched. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards perform as Little Blue Boy and the Blue Boys. Still perform, yeah. Jack Parr makes his final appearance on The Tonight Show. But the big news was the College Development Fund was started. Harry, this is for you. The College Development Fund. You have all the shakers and makers of Statesville, Jay Huskins, you've got the Gillums, you've got the Greers, you've got the Webbs, the money people of the community. The community people were all there. And again, the community was really excited about you guys. The Air Force recruiter came. How many of you fell for that? We got a couple fell for that trick. In 1973,
That's when everybody went to Canada.
you went on a trip. 1973 and 74, when I was there and the recruiter came, it was like Dodge City. You couldn't find a guy anywhere around. Here we go again. All right, let me try it. There was a recital at Sheridan Hall. May see some people you know there. Roseanne Clyde, Thomas Brawley, Olivia Waltney, Port Sherrill, Mary Ann Hall. Sure, that was a great concert. 1962, April. West Side Story and Sophia Loren win an Academy Award. Walter Cronkite begins his anchoring at the CBS Evening News. And Willie Mays hits 4 home runs in a single game. But the big news was, again, the Mitchell College Fund. They're going to raise $375,000. Now today, Harry can spend an afternoon on the phone and raise that much. But back then, that was a lot of money. And they had big plans for that, for you guys. They had plans for a new student union. The architect is a little off there. They're still planning to convert the Deaton apartments to dormitories. And then you run into this thing. You know, I had all this confidence in you guys, and then I read this article. Can y'all see that in the back?
No.
That's the other picture.
5 young Mitchell College students are shooting for a record of sorts. The youth are playing continuously an old 78 rendition of Old River by Walter Brennan. This comes from New London, Connecticut. The student said Tuesday night that the Brennan record had been played 350 times and was still going strong.
In one old muley called Midnight.
Good old Brennan.
Used to plow them roads straight and deep. And I'd come along there behind.
How'd you like to listen to that 350 times? Y'all know this guy, don't you? Grandpappy Amos and the girls and the boys and family known as the real
So
boys.
did I am that mule wood.
Said I get the river here.
Finally say, whoa.
Is any of the 5 here that was involved in that?
Here. Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't confess to it.
I'm gonna climb that mountain. Walk up there
There's the chorus.
among them clouds.
He's nailing it.
For the cotton's high and the corns are growing. And there ain't no fields to plow.
So that kind of shows you the diversity, the cultural diversity of your class. And yes, do any of those 6 in the room tonight? You probably are, aren't you? You probably. You guys who are looking down, you probably the ones who.
They must have gotten the Guinness Book of Records for that.
I think it must have. Then in May 1962, AFL-CIO starts a campaign for the 35-hour work week. We know how that went over, don't we? Roger Maris walks 5 times. Tell It to Groucho airs for the last time. But the real news was the May Queen. May Mitchell was on the Here we have Joe Woody and Mary Beanie.
Steve.
And we got this guy, Rock. Any of y'all remember Rock Curley? He was just a kid, but he gave his 10 cents of his allowance, the only money he had, to Mitchell College.
I taught him at school.
Did you really? Rock Curley.
You taught him to give, didn't you?
He taught him to give. He was a young kid who had faith in you guys.
How many years did he go to class?
The Middle Forest Stars, the play. Y'all remember that play? Yeah. Oh, okay, you went to the play. Good. Is that part of that cast? Yeah. Anybody recognize those guys?
Yeah.
Any of them here?
Oliver and that's
Guy on the left.
that's Mark Johnson.
Guy on the left is Tommy Kaiser.
Olivia Quality.
That ain't Andy Hams on
I listened to him sing it.
Is that Court on the end, or is that you, Barry?
No, that's Mark Johnson.
Mark Johnson.
Another shot.
Boy.
Andy.
Any of those guys here? Any of those gals here? Is this Point?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I had to see him about that. And of course, talk about the May Day festivities. Here we are, the May Queen in her court. Any of these other ladies here? Diana Richard, Elaine Brown, Linda McCoy. There they are in their Easter bonnets and Isabel and the dress. It's like they're ready for a hoedown. We won't say it's a hoedown. And then when you thought the world was safe for men, women, and children, the politicians come out. It was election week at Mitchell College. Here we have the guys who are running, and I can't read, it's kind of blurry, I can't read the name.
Matt Sherrill, he's here.
Matt?
Matt Worry.
Matt,
He's on the left now.
there you've got the politicians. Yes.
There's the actual.
There's the actual newspaper article over here. Yeah, you'll be able to read that. They plastered the propaganda, Kennedy for president or whatever, all around the place. They talked about hope and change, I'm sure.
Hope and change.
Did they deliver on it? No. Did they not? There they are. That's the news, old in the news. Looks like Chuck.
It's Ronnie Whittington.
Joe Woody, Ronnie Whittington.
Bill Clinton.
Yeah, Joe Clinton.
Ronnie was here last year.
That's a little, not very good picture. Those are the junior martyrs. They weren't quite that dark. And then we get up on into May, and 42 graduates got medals. Medals? Y'all got medals for graduating? Some of y'all did. In 1974, they didn't have any medals. But this was 81 diplomas and certificates were presented. Superintendent Philip Weaver was the guest speaker. There they are, going out to the world. And the local, things got interesting. Superintendent Weaver, for you, those of you in the class of 62, Superintendent Weaver challenged you to get on with the business of making this a better world. We're going to come back to that. See how that worked out here in just a few minutes. That was your challenge. And the local people, the guys from Statesville and the girls from Statesville, they got their pictures made. The rest of y'all didn't. 31 people from Statesville graduated, the rest of y'all didn't matter. And those, some of them were on the second page, so they didn't really matter. All right, 1962, over the summer now. Over the summer, you guys were probably summer school. We had a lot of nuclear tests going on. Tony Bennett was singing at Carnegie Hall. The Rolling Stones performed for the first time as the Rolling Stones. Martin Luther King and 160 others were jailed in a demonstration in Georgia. Ringo Starr was playing drums for the Beatles finally. And Peter, Paul, and Mary had the first hit, If I Had a Hammer. But the real news was Miss Knox and her sister, Miss Noe, were going to Mexico for summer school. Any of y'all have Miss Knox? I've heard Miss Knox, I've heard Miss Noe. They were going, they were stopped for a wedding, of course, and have their mint juleps along the way. They love their mint juleps. Mr. Montgomery had a very controversial article in the newspaper stating that he was opposed to Mitchell College joining the community college system. That's pretty much the way it stayed for about 10 years. And finally, things happened in the college joined the community college system. Ready for a new term, opening the doors, getting ready to open doors to a new bunch of freshmen there. Kay, Abel, Elizabeth Loring, Susan Day, Mac Sherrill. On the right. Then in September, school's back in session. Class of 62, you're gone. You're out in the world, saving the world. Class of 63, you're getting ready for your last year at Mitchell. Bob Dylan is playing at Carnegie Hall. ABC has the first color TV series, The Jetsons. I didn't know that until I did this. Roy Rogers and Dale Evans debuted. Beverly Hillbillies came out. That was one of my favorites. And JFK routes 3,000 troops to Mississippi. But the big news was Mitchell had personalized notebooks that you could buy at the medical center pharmacy for $1.19. Plus they would give you a free 25-cent pack of paper to go in there. Y'all remember that? You still have yours? New people in Mitchell staff, Henry Freeze and Albert Bickley and James Kinney were teaching part-time there. Then in October, Barbara Streisand signs her first recording contract. Johnny Carson joins the Tonight Show with Joan Crawford as his first guest. The Lucy Show starts. The Beatles come out with Lovely Do, and the Cuban Missile Crisis continues with the blockade of Cuba. But the real big news was Senator John Tower. Here's a senator who came and spoke to you guys, and all of you were there. Sure. For John Tower, you weren't there? The freshman officers are elected. Judy Ring, Sherwood Jessup, Scarlett Jessup, Arthur Kelly. Mitchell Choir, that's not a very good picture at all. If you were in the Mitchell Choir, you were probably on the back row there, you just can't see that. Y'all were given free athletic equipment to a school in Cuba. Y'all remember doing that, collecting athletic equipment? 1962, Richard Nixon says you won't have Richard Nixon to kick around anymore. Mickey Mantle was the MVP that year. Osborne Brothers debuted on the Andy Williams Show. The Match Game came out with Gene Rager. Remember that? And the class of 63 began their welcome weekend for parents. Now let me get this right. This is like November, and And you guys, I can see you guys getting together and saying, all right, we're out of money. How are we gonna get some money? And probably Spooky said, why don't we have a parent day? We'll invite the parents to come in and tell us all about them, and while we're here, we'll get a check from them. So apparently that's what happened. Parent day.
We know the one, let's see, we know the one on the far, lower right.
Yeah, white shirt.
White shirt. Jerry Fletcher, he's here.
Jerry.
There he is. Oh, Rachel.
That Rachel here?
Yeah, Rachel.
That's Rachel in the middle.
Jerry Fletcher,
Did you get any money?
hopefully you got some money to get through to Christmas. There you are. That's some poor dad handing a check over to his daughter right there. Reverend and Mrs. Paul Keith.
In the middle, Patty.
Okay.
Her daddy.
So is that your dad handing you a check?
Yes.
Here's another great speaker came in, professor from VGI University. And all of y'all were there and you heard him speak, right? John, you were there, I know.
Took notes.
You had an engineer talking about lowering of standards. Surely some of y'all were there for that.
They participated.
Maybe do a case study. Here's another program. The Student Christian Association had an event going on there. Choir festival. They a couple of Mitchell students and had some younger students that they were working with McDowell Music. Alvin Moss, Barry Farmer. All right, let me get out of your way then. Do you remember that? And then the big news again was Mitchell advancing at a fast clip. And you've got plans for the new student union, how that's going to look, first floor, second floor. 1963, January, February, Mutual of Omaha, the Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins comes out. Be careful, Jim. Watch out for his tail. That could be deadly. Remember that? Now, if you didn't feel old when you came in tonight, when you were at Mitchell College, the postage stamp went from 4 cents to 5 cents. Beatles, please, please me. Mickey Mouse signs a contract for $100,000. And 346 students registered for the semester, the highest in the history. And Dean Leidinger was ecstatic. Civitan group here, Barbara Clement, Mary Rebecca Brands with Dean Leidinger. Here we had the foreign editor of Newsweek magazine. That came probably on a Tuesday night, I think. What else could y'all be doing on a Tuesday night? Here's Lewis Brown, he was there. Mr. Brown was there, you better believe. Mr. Brown, as I've gone through the old newspapers, Mr. Brown had a way to get his picture in the paper a lot. Operetta was going on here. You have Harvey Williams, Pam Ritchie, Barry Farmer there, getting ready for the operetta. March, April, we're getting close to graduation now. Pete Rose debuts and has 2 at-bats hits in spring training. Wilt Chamberlain scored 70. A year earlier, he scored 78. Soap opera, General Hospital, the doctors come out. Lawrence of Arabia and wins an Academy Award. But the big news was Lewis Brown. And he did not win an Academy Award. He was on TV. They did a TV show featuring him as a schoolmaster. It looked kind of like a school marm in this picture. Brown was on channel, I think channel 12 in Winston-Salem, and had some of these maybe you guys participated in that. That's not a very good picture there, but that's supporting role for the a cappella choir. Chuck Kennedy was in there. Probably the best picture of Chuck I've seen. Joe Clinton, Mark Johnson, standing is Mike Payne, and Steve Oketch. Yeah. All right, it's really getting exciting now. Student Union, the steel's going up for that. Do y'all remember that? That would have been exciting stuff around campus.
That must have started after that.
Yeah, no. This is, what was it? April, May? Yeah. Apparently y'all. This came straight out of the newspaper. I'm telling you. The Circle K leaves for, got their bags packed and they leave for the convention. Let's see, Carl, David Smith, Bill Malcolm, Bill, you're in there, NG, Revis. And again, that's a newspaper clipping, so it's a little tough to see. Here we go to the main court. This time we have 3. Christine Phillips. Right here. Becky Harris and Linda Hodge. And Sheila Murdoch. That's 4. This is 3. All right, May, you get close. Bob Dylan walks out of the Ed Sullivan show. I don't remember the story behind that. Peter, Paul, and Mary win the first Grammy. Big Band Dyke Show wins the Grammy. But the big news is the Mitchell May Day celebration. There on the circle, you have the ladies there, the main court. Let's see if I can read this one. Billy Joe Bland, Carol Henderson, Linda Hodge, Peggy Rice, Becky Harris, and Sheila Murdoch.
Peggy and Chris
Peggy and Chris are here. All right. Mitchell Choir gives a polished, I think that's a title, I think it's supposed to be Polish performance. Guest speaker last year it was Philip Weaver. This year it's Fred Weaver who was speaking for graduates. I don't know what the deal was with Weavers. I think by 64 it was George Weaver. Remember the rest were, I think it might have been George. The Weaver speaks, 87 degrees are awarded, and probably that many more after summer school. And there they go, out. The class of 63, out to save the world. Let's give them a hand. I'd like to quickly go through some of the places that you may have hung out while you were in. At Mitchell, you probably, if you wanted to grab a bite to eat, this is a list of the restaurants in town: Front Street, Gray's, Hefner's, Howard Johnson's, Miller Manor, Redmond's, Rotunda, Troutman's, 21 Restaurant, Grant's Hotel, Womack's. Or if you're on a tight budget, you might have gone to some of these. A&W Root Beer, having met you guys, I think probably most of you went here to this list. The Boulevard Tavern, CC's Tavern, the Country Club Tavern, Jimmy Stagg Tavern. That might explain the absence for some of the events. Any of y'all ever attend the Playhouse Theater?
Yeah.
Wasn't it a great place? How about the Villa Heights Theater? That's during a snowstorm, but it's under there somewhere. State Theater, it was probably gone by the time somebody.
It was gone by then.
I think it was torn down maybe 61 or so. Some of you girls may have hung out at the pool hall. Randy's. That's down on Shelton Avenue. You might hear me. You ever go there? Milkshake at Superior Dairies. have the milkshake machines lined up, ready to go. That is the Redlands Cafe. That's Front Street Cafe. Any of you have ever had fried rabbit, the Hossam slaughter?
Would you say that again,
Hey, the Howard Johnson's right next to the Staple Motor Lodge. You had Allen's Steakhouse and Seafood out on the 8th Avenue extension. Vance Soda Shop. You had Troutman's Cafe. It's pretty popular, probably reasonable price food for college students. Home Bakery, just right down the street from the college. Or maybe a pack of nabs in the RC at the Black River Golf Station. Any of you guys ever do that? Probably so. When you put the peanuts in there. You recognize anybody
If you were home, and that's pretty good.
That's what
I think I missed mine in college.
Shirley, you went downtown and shopped some. Shirley, you took time out of your studies to do that. Went to Bull Great shopping place. You didn't have to prepare it, though. Had Belts up here, Three Sisters, Cross Street Eagles, the Eagles,
Jimmy Farris.
Roses. Any y'all had to ride the bus to get to school? Ride the bus to get to school and stop at the bus station? That's the old bus station, Union Bus Station. Any of y'all ever ride that bus? Any of y'all attend when LBJ came to town?
Oh, yeah.
We drove.
They drove.
Mercedes Caravan.
That was exciting stuff there. LBJ, minus the horn. That's not a. Reverend Landmark had one Republican photographer, I think, and he took that picture. As beloved as LBJ was, and be honest with yourself, you would have much rather seen.
Little Jimmy Dixon.
Little Jimmy Dixon, that's right.
Fred. How about the Owls? Owls, yeah.
The Owls.
Games. That's a great place. Faithful Owls. Recreation Center.
Lifeguard.
Yeah. Hopefully you didn't meet up with him. Hopefully you didn't see this guy in your rear view mirror, the Sereno and the police car. And hopefully you didn't see this guy under bad circumstances. I wanted to show you this. Mr. Montgomery is a beloved man, very wise man. And he was asked how far he thought the classes of 62, 63, and 64 would go with the business. Remember the business of making the world better, he was asked how far you guys were going to go. And here's his response.
He responded.
He responded, that's not my cursor.
Drum roll.
He responded,
He hadn't met the guy a while ago.
nevertheless, you guys went much further than that. Congratulations on your reunion. It's so good to see so many of you back in town.
Hey, Steve, Steve,
Chuck, can we get a seventh inning stretch in a minute?
yeah.
Yes.
Steve, would you, I don't know if we recognize you officially, but one of the capacities that Steve serves in is one of the members of our Board of Trustees here at the college, and he's been a wonderful
Doing it very much. Great leadership under,
What's his name?
Would you share briefly with the group about your museum that you have here in town?
Yeah,
And I know that they'd be interested in knowing that.
I'm probably not going to be open tomorrow, but if you're ever in town during the week, I've got ball games and things tomorrow with the grandkids, but stop by my little local history museum. Lots of photos you saw tonight. There's just thousands of photos of Statesville during the time that we all grew up and even before that. Love to have you. It's absolutely free. Just come and look all you want.
Is that where I can't remember the photographer's name, but he spent a lot of time.
Max.
Is that where his?
A lot of his things are in there, a lot of
Art-
the
art your
Stinson family, a lot of the Van Ammon family, just a lot of the local photographers. We have their photos on exhibit there.
What's the address? Your address?
It's 212 South Center Street. If you remember where the old Rails Department store was, up from Vance Hotel, between the Vance Hotel and the old courthouse, right in there. I'd love to have you. Spooky's going to be coming in next Saturday morning. If you're in town next Saturday morning, join Spooky. He's going to bring, he brings a group in from time to time, and they go through the stacks of pictures that aren't identified, help me put names with the faces, and it's really helpful to have people like Spooky and you guys to help do that.
All right, I hope we don't lose anybody, but let's take about a 10-minute little, do you think you need that, ladies? No?
Keep going.
Keep going, okay. All right, this is the part of the program that I want you all to participate in. I will call your names out. You can come, tell you what, you can just stand where you are. It's the easiest thing to do. If you would like to give us a remembrance or a reflection or a memory of your days here at Mitchell. Just shake your head if you don't want to do this, okay? First one is, I'll call on Matt McIntyre.
Talked with Tommy Teal Tuesday of this week, and he could not be here, and he wanted me to tell everybody hello. And he missed not coming. Tommy's well thought of. 2 years of just absolute super time at Mitchell. And I met a lot of good people, and I have a couple. It's probably one of the best love stories you ever heard. But Matt Sherrill, I got to be real good friends, and I said, Matt, what you gonna major in? And Matt said, well, I don't know. I said, what courses you taking? And he gave me a list of courses, and I couldn't figure out why he was taking those courses. When he finally told me, first day of school, he saw a lady named Peggy Rice. And he followed Peggy around, and he signed up at every course. Peggy had, and that was 49 years ago. They've been married 47 years. course she took cosmetology. What was it? I thought it was one sex education.
Someone has suggested, since we're looking at back there, if you wouldn't mind just real quickly coming up, and what I'll do is I'll announce two people who's coming up and the next person. That way you can be prepared to just come up here so everybody can hear you. So next person will be Jim Hopland and Matt Sherrill after that.
Well, my little presentation is pretty short and sweet, but I did want to say that it's great to be with you after almost 50 years. I graduated in '64 and had a great 2 years there. A couple of things occurred to me that have always come back to me over the years. One of the first experiences I had was going to a class with Carl Leidecker as my Psychology 101 professor. And he was dean of faculty at that time. And we got into looking at the world of statistics in the class. And the most important thing he said about that whole thing to me, it stuck with me. He says, you know, there are two lies in this world. The first is the lie, and the second is statistics. Basically, whatever the statistician wants to do is provable by a manipulated database. So that made a big impression on me as I proceeded through class and got into statistics and got lost. But the next great thing that Carl said was read the book, The Listener. And that was a fabulous book. I read that book in one weekend. I could not put that book down. I had to turn every page. I almost starved to death. You know, for a guy like me, that's hard. But it's a fabulous book. If you've never read it, I won't spoil the ending for you, but it's a great book to read. And then one day I remember going into Mr. Hall's class for English. And he was a little late that day. So the class was, and he did that a lot. I think he had two suits. One was brown and one was black. He wore the black one in the first semester and the brown one in the second.
Never had to be clean.
He was a great guy though, and once in a while to get your attention, he would grab a hold of you with his articulation of words. And he was late to class one day, about 12 minutes, and everybody was starting to get out, you know, get up and leave because we only had the 10-minute limit then. And he jumped through the door and said, "What an outrage are you planning today?" Like, holy cow. That really got our attention, and so we settled down to class that very day. And the last thing is my first public speaking appearance I made when I was running for vice president at the student body in '63. Some of you poor folks may have been exposed to that, but I was the kid that was on stage who was shaking literally every part of his body trying to put on a speech. I had no idea how to make a speech. I'd never made one before, and I learned my lesson. Learn how to make a speech. The next quarter I went in, and next semester I went in and took speech class. And that helped me to go the rest of my life because it taught me how to prepare, get people's attention, how to work with your subject, and communicate directly in language people understood. I always have owned a great deal of regard and appreciation for my days at Mitchell College. It was a great experience for me. Helped me prepare for Pfeiffer College. I was out of 64 hours I had, I transferred 63, which meant plan before every course.
And I had previously gone to Pfeiffer and talked to my minister who baptized me, who was then the president of Pfeiffer College, and he agreed to take every course that met their criteria that year when I finally transferred to Pfeiffer. And it worked. But it was because of Mitchell College planning and telling me how to plan my education. And I really think that was a great experience for me, and I'm hoping it was for you too. Thank you.
Well, I've got to say that the best part about being at Mitchell was getting my wife. In college, and then I got my marriage license. Looking forward to the 75th anniversary.
All right, next we have John Steichleather. Okay. Kirk Moody.
Well, I just put my back to the wall, that's right. I guess I could start out saying mechanical engineer. There's a story behind that. Then in West Virginia, Westman, I could go 3 years there, transfer to the University of Pitt, and I'd have my master's in mechanical engineering. After the first semester of analytical geometry, calculus, chemistry, they said you could take an elective. I'm not sure how many final exams I went to, but Mitchell gave me a chance to get my grades back on track. And from there, I transferred to CATU, and the rest is history. Car business for 35 years. But also, too, just like Mac, I met my wife at Mitchell. And 43 years, if you're lucky, October, 43 years.
Yay!
During our social, I went around to several tables and introduced myself from members of Mitchell's working staff that came to celebrate this reunion too. And one table I approached, casual conversation, and one of the ladies said, well, what's the scoop of tonight's event? And I told her, I said, well, that has yet to be told. And before I ask this next young lady to speak, I would like to read to you all. It was part of my campaign address, which I still have a copy of. And I never knew what this situation was, but I guess I should have been one of these that carried signs and protested everything under the sun, because that's what my campaign address was about, was protesting what was going on in the administration of Mitchell Junior College. So anyway, this is the way it started out. An event happened here at Mitchell during the May Day week that really made me stop and wonder. This incident is a good example to show the weakness of the student council. The weakness I'm speaking about is not in the students. In fact, the students haven't had even a chance to really express themselves. The reason for this is the firm hand which the administration has in the student council. Now, this event was about a young lady by the name of Mary Beanie. And to this day, I would love to know what my this address, what was the theme of it, if she can remember. So that would be the scoop of the evening.
Well, I guess I have to say that after 50 years, I don't remember.
say? Just, we'd love to hear you.
I just enjoyed my time here with Mitchell College, or at Mitchell College. It was just a wonderful time for me. And I think one of the things I said to you when I called, when you called me and I returned the call, was that I'm not a public speaker. I don't stand on my feet and talk in a group. So I don't know how I'll do with this, but loved being at Mitchell because I grew up an only child on a farm in State Road, North Carolina, and all of a sudden I had all these sisters and all these boys, and it was so fun. And that was just the greatest thing. I got a great education here. It was a great experience, and I loved being here.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, John Nance, and next will be Gary Kidd.
I had a different experience from many of you. I came with my wife at 19. She was just 19 when we got married. We attended classes together. I worked, and so I missed out on a lot of the fun that was going on here. But, you know, there were times when I had to